You eat healthy, you walk every morning, you follow every piece of advice they give you, and yet your legs are getting weaker. Every step on the stairs feels heavier than it did last year. Getting up from a chair takes longer than it should. Your knees ache for no reason. Your calves feel like they are carrying invisible weights. Your balance is not what it used to be. You tell yourself it is just aging and you move on. But what if it is not? What if something small and silent is stealing your leg strength little by little every single day? And what if that something is sitting right now in your own fruit bowl at home? Because 7 fruits that everyone calls healthy, the ones you buy believing they protect your body, are quietly weakening your legs with every bite. The damage does not happen overnight. There is no sudden pain, no obvious warning. It creeps in so gradually that by the time you notice, the weakness has already taken hold. Today, I am going to show you exactly which 7 fruits are the silent thieves, and more importantly, what to eat instead, so your legs stay steady, strong, and capable of carrying you independently for years to come. If you care about your strength, please stay with me until the very end. Let us start with the first fruit on this list, and it is one that may shock you because it has been praised for decades as a natural anti-inflammatory. That fruit is pineapple. Thanks to a compound called bromelain, pineapple has built a reputation as a joint-friendly food that reduces swelling and pain. And for younger adults, that may be partially true. But here is the twist that almost no one talks about. 1 cup of pineapple contains approximately 22 grams of natural sugar. For a senior over 60 whose blood sugar regulation has already declined, that sugar hits the bloodstream fast and hard. Research shows that adults over 65 experience blood sugar spikes approximately 40% higher than younger adults from the same amount of sugar. Those spikes damage the tiny blood vessels called capillaries that feed your leg, muscles, feet, and toes. Over time, less oxygen reaches your lower extremities, and the result is that dull, dragging ache in your legs after a short walk, stiffness in your knees when you stand up, and swelling around your ankles that seems to appear for no reason. But the sugar is only half the problem. Pineapple is also highly acidic, and that acid does not stay in your stomach. It enters your bloodstream and can irritate joint tissues that are already dealing with inflammation or arthritis. An estimated 54% of adults over 65 have been diagnosed with at least one form of arthritis. And for these seniors, the acid in pineapple pours fuel on a fire that is already burning. There is also a medication concern. Bromelain can interact with blood-thinning medications like warfarin, potentially making them either too strong or less effective. For the estimated 30% of seniors who take some form of blood thinner, this is a risk worth knowing about. The most dangerous part is that none of this causes obvious immediate symptoms. The damage is gradual, invisible, and cumulative. Now, the second fruit is one that will surprise even more people because it is considered the ultimate muscle food. That fruit is bananas. Everyone knows bananas are rich in potassium and good for preventing cramps. But here is what that common advice leaves out. A single medium banana contains about 27 grams of sugar and 14 grams of fast-digesting carbohydrates. For seniors, this combination causes a rapid blood sugar spike followed by an insulin surge. When this happens repeatedly, day after day, your body begins developing insulin resistance. An estimated 25% of adults over 65 already have diabetes, and another 25% have prediabetes, meaning half of all seniors are already vulnerable to the effects of blood sugar instability. That insulin resistance weakens blood flow, increases chronic inflammation, and directly affects the muscles and joints in your legs. Many seniors notice a persistent heaviness in their legs after meals, a dull ache when climbing stairs, or tight calves that never seem to fully relax. Bananas can also cause fluid retention, particularly in seniors with cardiovascular issues. That excess fluid shows up as swollen feet, puffy ankles, and stiff joints that make every movement feel harder than it should. The cruelest part is that you eat bananas genuinely believing you are helping your muscles. Instead, the repeated sugar spikes may be slowly draining the very strength you are trying to protect. Now we move to 2 fruits that are among the most popular snacks in the world, and both of them hide dangers that most seniors never suspect. The third fruit on this list is grapes. They are small, juicy, and incredibly easy to eat. They have a clean reputation as a heart-healthy, antioxidant-rich food. But for older adults, grapes carry a hidden punch that can quietly destroy joint comfort and leg strength. The problem starts with fructose. Grapes contain one of the highest concentrations of fructose among common fruits, with a single cup delivering approximately 23 grams of sugar the majority of it in fructose form. Now, fructose is processed differently from other sugars. Instead of being used directly by your muscles for energy, fructose goes straight to your liver. When your liver receives more fructose than it can handle, it converts the excess into two harmful byproducts, fat and uric acid. For younger adults with efficient metabolism, this process is manageable, but after the age of 60, liver processing capacity declines by an estimated 20 to 30%, meaning more fructose escapes proper processing and more uric acid enters your bloodstream. Here is where the real damage begins. When uric acid levels rise above 6 milligrams per deciliter, crystals begin forming inside your joints. These microscopic sharp crystals settle in the areas with the least circulation and the most mechanical stress, which means your toes, your ankles, and your knees are the primary targets. An estimated 21% of adults over 65 have elevated uric acid levels, and many of them experience intermittent joint pain, heat, and swelling without ever connecting it to the fruits they eat. That stabbing pain in your big toe at night, that sudden tightness in your calves, that mysterious swelling in your ankles that comes and goes, elevated uric acid from fructose-rich fruits like grapes could be a direct contributor. But fructose does more than just create uric acid. It also fuels chronic systemic inflammation throughout your entire body. Research shows that diets high in fructose increase inflammatory markers by approximately 20 to 30%, and that inflammation spreads to every joint and muscle in your lower extremities, causing slower movement, greater stiffness, and reduced flexibility over time. There is also a practical problem with grapes that makes them particularly dangerous. They are simply too easy to overeat. Because they are small and require no preparation, most people pop them one after another without tracking how many they have consumed. Before you realize it, you have eaten 2 or 3 cups, delivering over 45 grams of sugar in a single sitting. That is more sugar than a can of soda, yet you consumed it believing you were making a healthy choice. Now, the fourth fruit on this list is one that seems like it could not possibly cause harm. It is light, refreshing, and made almost entirely of water. That fruit is watermelon. Everyone agrees that watermelon is a perfect summer food. It hydrates you, it is low in calories, and it tastes wonderful. But behind that watery, refreshing exterior lies a glycemic trap that can silently weaken your legs. Watermelon has a glycemic index of 72, which places it in the high glycemic category alongside white bread and sugar-sweetened beverages. That means despite being mostly water, watermelon spikes your blood sugar faster and higher than most people would ever expect from a fruit. For seniors, this is particularly problematic. When blood sugar shoots up rapidly, your body releases a surge of insulin to bring it back down. But in aging bodies, where insulin regulation has already declined, this process becomes inefficient and often overshoots, creating a spike followed by a crash. An estimated 48% of adults over 60 have some degree of impaired insulin sensitivity, making them especially vulnerable to this glycemic roller coaster. Each time this cycle occurs, inflammation increases in the areas where circulation is already weakest. For most seniors, that means the calves, ankles, and knees. The inflammatory response causes blood vessels in these areas to become less efficient, delivering less oxygen and fewer nutrients to the surrounding muscles and joint tissues. The symptoms are predictable but easy to misattribute. Leg fatigue that hits right after eating, a dull, persistent ache during even a moderate walk, swelling around the ankles that seems to worsen in the afternoon and evening, climbing stairs that suddenly feels like scaling a mountain. You blame it on age, on weather, on not sleeping well, but the real trigger may be the watermelon you ate an hour ago. The deceptive nature of watermelon is what makes it especially problematic. Because it feels so light and refreshing, there is no natural stopping point. One slice becomes 2, then 3, then half the melon. Each additional slice adds more sugar, more insulin stress, and more inflammation. Unlike a food that feels heavy or filling, watermelon gives you almost no satiety signal. You keep eating because your body does not register that it has received a significant sugar load, and every slice quietly increases the burden on your legs. If you have been eating watermelon regularly and your legs have felt more tired, heavier, or more swollen than usual, this connection is worth examining seriously. Now we come to 2 fruits that most seniors consider among the healthiest choices they can make, and both of them have been staples of morning routines and kitchen counters for generations. The 5th fruit is oranges. For as long as most of us can remember, oranges have been synonymous with health. They are bright, fresh, and packed with vitamin C. They show up in breakfast plates, immune-boosting drinks, and as the first recommendation whenever cold season arrives. But for adults over 60, oranges may hide an uncomfortable truth that turns this beloved fruit into a source of the very joint pain you are trying to avoid. The primary concern is acid. Oranges are one of the most acidic common fruits, with a pH level of approximately 2 to 3, placing them in the same acidity range as vinegar. While a younger body can neutralize this acid efficiently, aging bodies process acid much more slowly. After the age of 60, kidney function typically declines by approximately 1% per year, and the kidneys play a central role in regulating acid balance in your blood. When excess citric acid enters your bloodstream faster than your body can neutralize it, it reaches your joints and aggravates the delicate synovial tissues that keep them moving smoothly. For the estimated 54% of adults over 65 living with some form of arthritis, this acid exposure is like pouring lemon juice on an open wound. The irritation is real, even if the cause is invisible, but acid is only part of the problem. A medium orange also contains approximately 12 grams of natural sugar. On its own, that may seem moderate, but most seniors do not eat just one orange. Many drink orange juice, which concentrates the sugar dramatically. A single glass of orange juice contains the sugar of 3 to 4 oranges, delivering roughly 36 to 48 grams of sugar in one sitting. That sugar combines with the acid to create a double assault on your body. The sugar causes blood sugar fluctuations that trigger systemic inflammation, and the acid directly irritates joint tissues. The inflammation spreads to your knees, ankles, and calves, making every step heavier and more uncomfortable. Here is what makes this particularly cruel. Many seniors drink orange juice every single morning, believing it is one of the healthiest things they can do. They have been doing it for decades. And for decades, the acid and sugar have been quietly contributing to the stiffness they feel when they get out of bed, the hip pain that lingers through the afternoon, and the uncomfortable sensation in their legs after sitting for extended periods. Research shows that adults who consume citrus juice daily have up to a 25% higher rate of reported joint discomfort compared to those who consume citrus only occasionally. That does not mean you must eliminate oranges entirely, but understanding their impact on aging joints can help you make a more informed decision about how often and how much you consume. Now, the sixth fruit on this list is one that most seniors reach for, specifically because they believe it is the safer choice. That fruit is green apples. They look crisp, clean, and natural. They taste less sweet than red apples, which leads many people to assume they are lower in sugar and gentler on the body. For older adults watching their sugar intake, green apples feel like the smart option. But this assumption hides two problems that can quietly cause significant leg pain and discomfort over time. The first problem is malic acid. This is the compound that gives green apples their distinctively tart flavor. In younger adults with robust digestive systems, malic acid is processed efficiently and causes no issues. But as we age, the lining of our digestive tract becomes thinner and more sensitive. An estimated 30 to 40% of adults over 60 have some degree of reduced gastric acid production and compromised gut lining integrity. When malic acid enters this more vulnerable digestive environment, it can pass through into the bloodstream without being fully neutralized. Once in the blood, it can irritate joint tissues and contribute to inflammation in the hips, thighs, knees, and feet. Some older adults notice a pronounced ache in their hips or a mild burning sensation in their feet after eating green apples. Others feel a tightness in their knees that builds gradually over weeks of regular consumption. The second problem is sugar, and this is where the perception does not match reality. While green apples do contain slightly less sugar than red varieties, the difference is smaller than most people think. A medium green apple still contains approximately 19 grams of natural sugar. For seniors with slower metabolism, even this moderate amount can trigger blood sugar fluctuations that lead to tired calves, nighttime cramps, morning stiffness, and weakness when climbing stairs. An estimated 50% of adults over 60 experience some form of nighttime leg cramps, and dietary sugar is one of the contributing factors that most people never consider. There is also a practical habit that makes green apples particularly problematic for seniors. Because they are perceived as a safe, healthy snack, many older adults eat them raw between meals or even right before bed. This means the body is being exposed to both malic acid and sugar at the times when digestion is slowest and joint recovery is most active. Eating an acidic, sugary fruit right before sleep means your joints are bathed in inflammatory compounds during the exact hours when they should be healing and restoring themselves. Over weeks and months of this pattern, the cumulative effect shows up as progressively stiffer mornings, more frequent joint pain, and a general sense that your legs simply do not feel as strong or reliable as they used to. Now we arrive at the seventh and final fruit on this list, and I saved it for last because for seniors with weak joints and leg pain, this may be the most damaging one of all. That fruit is mango. It is juicy, soft, and so naturally sweet that eating it feels like having dessert without any guilt. Almost everyone loves mango, especially during the summer months. It feels light, refreshing, and harmless. But behind that tropical sweetness lies a sugar load so concentrated that your legs may be paying a price you never connected to this fruit. A single medium mango contains approximately 45 grams of natural sugar. To put that in perspective, that is more sugar than you would find in a full-size candy bar. It is nearly double the sugar in a banana and almost triple what you get from a cup of strawberries. For anyone under 30 with an active metabolism, the body can usually process that amount without serious consequences. But after the age of 60, everything changes. Metabolic rate declines by an average of 1 to 2% per decade. Insulin sensitivity drops, and the body's ability to handle large sugar loads becomes significantly impaired. When you eat a mango, that massive sugar dose hits your bloodstream rapidly, triggering an intense insulin spike followed by a sharp crash. An estimated 48% of adults over 60 already have impaired insulin regulation. And for these seniors, this spike and crash cycle is not just uncomfortable, it is actively destructive. Each time this cycle occurs, your body produces inflammatory compounds deep within your joints, particularly in the soft tissues surrounding your ankles, hips, and knees. These are the joints that bear the most weight and experience the most mechanical stress during everyday movements, like walking, standing, and climbing stairs. The inflammation causes these tissues to swell, stiffen, and lose their ability to cushion and protect the joint. Over time, movements that once felt effortless become painful and difficult. Research shows that diets consistently high in simple sugars can increase inflammatory markers by up to 35% in adults over 60, and mango delivers one of the highest single-serving sugar loads of any common fruit. For seniors who already experience nerve problems in their lower extremities, mango can make symptoms significantly worse. The sugar spikes damage the smallest blood vessels that feed your peripheral nerves, reducing oxygen and nutrient delivery to the nerve endings in your feet and toes. This can show up as burning sensations in your toes, persistent tingling that worsens in the evening, swelling around your feet that seems to appear from nowhere, and a creeping heaviness that rises up your legs as the day progresses. An estimated 20% of adults over 65 have some degree of peripheral neuropathy, and excessive sugar intake from fruits like mango can accelerate the deterioration of nerve function in the lower extremities. The biggest trap with mango is psychological. Because it feels light, refreshing, and natural, there is no mental alarm bell that tells you to stop. Unlike eating a piece of chocolate cake where you know you are consuming something unhealthy, mango comes with a health halo that encourages overconsumption. One slice becomes two, then three, and before you know it, you have consumed over 60 grams of sugar while feeling virtuous about eating fruit. Your body does not care about the source of the sugar. It reacts to the chemical impact. And that impact on aging joints, weakened blood vessels, and compromised nerves is real, regardless of whether the sugar came from a candy bar or a beautiful ripe mango. Natural does not automatically mean safe for every body at every age. Mango is a natural food, but for seniors with weaker circulation, aging joints, and declining metabolic efficiency, the sugar load it delivers can cause genuine and cumulative harm to your legs over time. Now that you have seen the full picture of these 7 fruits, I do not want you to feel discouraged or afraid. Because the good news is that nature also provides fruits that do the exact opposite. They reduce inflammation, protect your joints, improve circulation, and help your legs stay strong and steady. Let me show you what to eat instead. The first and most powerful alternative is berries, specifically blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. These small fruits are among the most effective anti-inflammatory foods available to you. 1 cup of blueberries contains only about 15 grams of sugar, roughly half what you find in the same amount of grapes or pineapple. But more importantly, berries are extraordinarily rich in antioxidants called anthocyanins. Research shows that these compounds can reduce inflammatory markers by up to 25% in adults over 60. They improve circulation, particularly in the legs and feet, by protecting the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels. Regular berry consumption has been linked to improved walking speed, reduced joint stiffness, and less swelling in the lower extremities. For everything the 7 harmful fruits take away, berries give back. The second alternative is cherries, but in moderation. Cherries have a specific and well-documented ability to lower uric acid levels in your blood. Remember how grapes cause uric acid to build up in your joints? Cherries do the opposite. Research from Boston University found that adults who consumed cherries regularly had a 35% lower risk of gout flare-ups compared to those who did not eat cherries. They soothe the burning sensation in your knees and toes and reduce the swelling that makes movement painful. A small handful, about 10 to 12 cherries, is the ideal serving. Not a large bowl, just a small targeted amount that delivers therapeutic benefit without excessive sugar. The third alternative is one that surprises many people because they do not think of it as a fruit. That alternative is avocado. Yes, avocado is technically a fruit, and it is one of the best foods on earth for aging joints. Unlike every harmful fruit on this list that causes damage through sugar and acid, avocado contains virtually no sugar and is rich in monounsaturated fats that actively reduce inflammation from the inside. These healthy fats cushion your joints and help maintain the integrity of the cartilage that protects your bones. Avocado also helps regulate insulin, providing steady energy without the blood sugar swings that cause leg pain and fatigue. 1/2 of an avocado per day is enough to make a measurable difference. The fourth alternative is papaya. This soft tropical fruit is gentle on aging stomachs and contains natural enzymes, including papain, that help reduce inflammation and support digestion. For seniors who have struggled with digestive discomfort from acidic fruits like pineapple and oranges, papaya provides a soothing alternative that actually calms inflammation rather than fueling it. It is easy to chew, easy to digest, and delivers vitamins A and C without the harsh acid load that damages joint tissues. And the fifth alternative is pears. Pears bring a subtle, natural sweetness with a glycemic index of only 38, making them one of the most blood sugar-friendly fruits available. They contain approximately 10 grams of sugar per medium fruit, which is roughly half the amount found in a banana and less than a quarter of what a mango delivers. Pears are also rich in fiber, which slows sugar absorption even further, preventing the spikes that cause inflammation and leg discomfort. Pair them with a small amount of protein, like a handful of almonds or a slice of cheese, and you have a snack that fuels your body steadily without overloading your legs. The transition from harmful fruits to these beneficial alternatives does not need to happen overnight. Start with one simple swap at a time. Replace your morning banana with a handful of blueberries, choose half an avocado instead of a serving of grapes. Reach for a pear instead of a mango. Pay attention to how your legs feel over the next 2 to 3 weeks as you make these changes. Many seniors report noticeably less stiffness, less swelling, and lighter, more comfortable movement within just a few weeks of adjusting their fruit choices. Now let me close with a few words just for you. If you have stayed with me this far, one thing is clear. You care about your future, your strength, and your independence. And I want you to hear this. It is not too late to make changes. You still have time to recover. Getting older is hard. The pain, the stiffness, the fear of falling, it all creeps in and sometimes makes you feel like your body is fading away. But the truth is, you can take charge with small, smart adjustments. No extreme measures needed. One meal, one fruit, one decision at a time. The 7 fruits we discussed today are not toxic. They are not poisons. But they may no longer be the best choices for your body at this stage of life. And that is perfectly fine, because aging is not about giving up the things you enjoy. It is about getting wiser about which choices serve you best right now.